Yep, Google's doing it. They're making another Pixelbook. This is the Pixelbook Go, and it's Google's first attempt to make a Chromebook that doesn't cost like $1,000. The Pixelbook Go starts at $650, which is a little bit more expensive than other Chromebooks, but it doesn't cost an arm and a leg, maybe just like an arm. The Pixelbook Go is a little bit more of a traditional Chromebook than Google has made before. It doesn't have a big 3x2 screen. It doesn't flip around into a wacky little tablet. It's just a laptop. It has a 16:9 1080p touchscreen by default. It has 8th gen Intel processors and their Y series processor, so it's not the latest stuff on the block. It's also about ½ an inch thick, so this actually isn't the thinnest Chromebook on the block, but Google says that it lasts about 12 hours on a battery in its battery test, and their battery test is actually not that far from real life, so I'm really excited to test that. Now, even if it doesn't live up to that claim, Google says that it supports fast charging. Now, you might think the Pixelbook Go is plastic just looking at it or even feeling it, but it's not. It actually uses magnesium. Google says that magnesium has a better strength to body ratio than aluminum does, and that meant that they could use less material and make it lighter, so it only weighs about 2.3 pounds. It feels like it's plastic because they painted over that magnesium, so I'm really hoping that it won't chip off or anything. It comes in 2 colors, just black and not pink. So the Pixelbook Go, it has a really simple design. I guess you could call it elegant. I don't know, it's built around the idea of having really soft curves, so you can see it on the radiuses of the corners, and when the thing is closed, they actually did a really good job of making the whole thing look like like a big rectangular lozenge. When you open it up and look inside, it looks like a Pixelbook. The bezels are on the screen, they're not too big, and the keyboard looks exactly like the last Pixelbook's keyboard, and man, you know, I gotta tell you, that keyboard, it's really good. It's a little bit quieter than the last Pixelbook, which was already pretty quiet, and it feels great to type on. It's one of my favorite keyboards of the past couple of years. I really like it. If you look around the outside of the device, you'll see that there's 2 USB-C ports, one on either side, so you can charge on either side, and they got little charging lights next to them. There is a headphone jack, hooray! But there is no micro SD card slot for expanding storage, and that's kind of a bummer actually, because most of its competitors have one right now, and I don't know why they couldn't include it here. The other thing you won't find is a fingerprint sensor. If you want to log into this thing, you got to type your password, which kind of sucks, but Google really wants to emphasize that it works with Android phones, so you could unlock with the fingerprint sensor on your Pixel or some other Android phone, or the face on the Pixel 4, and that would also unlock the Chromebook, so I guess that's cool. The last thing I'll mention, as long as we're talking about security, is it does have Google's Titan C chip inside it. But I do have to bring up that the last Chrome OS device that Google made was this thing right here, the Pixel Slate, and it was a disaster. So you might be a little bit worried about the Pixelbook Go, but I don't think you need to be, because this is just a much less ambitious thing. They just made a laptop. The screen doesn't even go 360. And so, you know, we'll see if it's any good. The one thing I'll say is I'm really interested to review it and test it out compared to other Chromebooks, because there are a ton of Chromebooks in like the $500-ish range that this thing seems competitive with. So you might be paying a little bit more to get that Google logo on the back of the laptop. And actually, potentially you could be paying a lot more if you want to get something that has a little bit nicer specs. Okay, so it comes in 4 models. The base model is $649, and that has 8 gigs of RAM, only 64 gigs of storage, and an 8th gen Intel M3 processor, which is fast, but not super fast. So a lot of people are gonna wanna step up to the next one, which is $849. That's $200 more. That gets you the same 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, and an i5 processor. There's a $999 tier for 16 gigs of RAM and 128 storage and an i5 processor. I don't know why that one even exists, to be honest with you. And then the top tier, if you want to spend all the money, is $1,400, and that's 16 gigs of RAM, 250 gigs of storage, a 4K screen, and an i7 processor. Oh, you know, one more thing about the Pixelbook Go. Google promises that they fixed the Bluetooth, which I really hope that's true, because on the original Pixelbook, the Bluetooth was hot garbage. And actually, speaking of the original Pixelbook, it's still available. If you don't want this really traditional laptop and you want something with a full flippy screen 3x2, you can still go buy that Pixelbook. If you want the Pixelbook Go, pre-orders for the black one start today. You can get on a wait list for the not pink one or some of the higher spec models, and I expect the black one to start shipping in the next few weeks. And when it does, I'm gonna be really excited to review it and see how it compares to those other Chromebooks. Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the Pixelbook Go down in the comments. And of course, the big thing that Google announced at its hardware event was the Pixel 4 phone, and we've got a hands-on video with that, so you should check it out.